2, 1. Thank you all. It is our January 7th COVID-19 Financial Oversight Committee. So thank you all for joining us. Recommendations have been made. We have a fairly light agenda today, thanks to all of your hard work over the past months. So we will go ahead and start, but we are virtual. So if I may have a motion for the electronic meeting and have somebody read that for us.
I move that the proposed agenda constitutes essential business and that meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and well-being of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak.
Excellent. Second?
Second.
All right. And I will go ahead and do a quick roll call vote to accept the electronic meeting. Councilmember Gamble.
Aye.
Sean Henry.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnston.
Aye.
Fonda McDaniel.
Aye.
Junauda DeBecco.
Aye.
And Councilmember Sepulveda.
Aye.
I think those are all of our committee members. Yes, just checking. Anybody else? Okay. So 6 in favor, 0 against. We will proceed electronically. And just a reminder, as you speak, if you don't have your camera on, if you will make sure to announce your name so that we have the public can tell who is speaking. All right. So you all have, first I want to, before we go into the report, we do actually have Director of Finance, Kevin Crumbo, with us. And I just wanted to open the floor for Director Crumbo.
Hey, well, thank you, Mary Jo. And I'm not going to linger long with you here, but I just wanted to say thank you on behalf of the community, truly on behalf of the Metro government, the administration, for everything you've done. I know the committee work's beginning to come to a close, and you did have a meeting a few weeks ago where there were a lot of thank yous passed around to all of you, and I won't go in and repeat all of that, but I did just want to take a moment for myself to say not just thank you, but to have you think a bit about how meaningful the contribution really has been, and not just for the folks that have received it, but $122 million is a lot of money. And to have spent the time and care that you have with it, to distribute it the way that you have, to hold part of it back so that we can sustain as we go into the pandemic here. I just cannot imagine a corner of the Metro government that has had better fiscal management all year long than what all of you really have brought to this committee. So I will just say thank you once again. It was a meaningful contribution. And if there's anything I can do to help you as you wrap this up, or sadly, if we have another chapter of this open due to the pandemic or some of the events like we saw last evening, I hope that you'll answer the call again and come pitch in and help, because your expertise over the last year is some big intellectual capital that we can't let go of in the community. So thank you very much, and I'm glad to answer any questions you may have just about Metro in general, if that's helpful. Hey, go ahead.
Thank you, Director Crumbo, and thank you for all of your hard work and assisting us in this process and providing relief to the citizens as we move forward to the next stage. I know there was some, I guess, late developments right before Christmas regarding the extension of time for the relief funds to be administered. However, there wasn't any additional funding provided to the states or cities. And so just wanted to find out from your perspective, is the action that the council took in regards to ensuring a COVID relief funding for after the December 31st initial deadline for spending the funds, do you think that our previous action is still pretty valid and pretty useful in what we're doing in regards to the response? And if not, are there any suggestions that you have as far as where we might go forward from here?
No, I tell you, there's the old expression, you have to play the hand that you're dealt. And you had a tough hand getting started here. And by that, I mean, money came quickly, all 122 million of it, but it really didn't come with many guidelines. And so as time marched on, of course, more and more guidelines came around, and it wasn't until pretty late in the process that there was the opportunity to even take the action that has been. And even when Mary Jo first spotted that, she had questions about how it could really work. And so as we got towards the end of the year and we weren't seeing that there was going to be some sort of extension or other action out of Congress that were going to make things any better, I think anything that could be done, was done by the council. If there hadn't been the end of December deadline and we'd have gone a few more months, maybe there'd been more guidelines and maybe other decisions to be made. But I think you played the hand that you've been dealt really well. I was frankly just very impressed by the council overall, taking the recommendations of the committee, what debate and controversies there were. I think were probably very, very healthy. And I think it's just set a really good precedent for what's going to happen going forward. We see, more events and more relief come. Frankly, I'm just looking at Mary Jo here and remembering when the money first arrived, and she said, because she's got some background in this, as y'all know by now, I'll take charge of this and start to shepherd this until we get a better process. And she stood there and she said, this needs a decider, right? And once we have a decider, we need some rules. And so ultimately she pushed and the decider became this committee. And I think she's been quite vocal amongst her peers in other cities as she joined the national calls to say we need guidelines, we need more and more. And sometimes that's happened, sometimes it really hasn't. But I just can't imagine, as I said earlier in my remarks, this committee doing a better job than you have. And I think the preservation of monies still for the rest of pandemic was very good. If it gets a lot worse and Metro's response needs to be bigger than planned, then I think we'll be back to you, with the administration of the council trying to find some other course of action. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, Sean, you're on mute, I think.
When you're on mute, you can mouth almost anything. I just want to say thank you for the invitation to be on this group. And even more importantly, to echo what you're saying about Mary Jo, I don't know where the committee would have been if you didn't define the rules before we had rules. So I just want to say thank you. You made it easy to look at a couple of thousand documents, it seems, every night. Not quite that many, but really just want to say thanks for your leadership, Mary Jo, and yours, Kevin, for bringing this about, because hopefully it's made a difference.
Oh, it's made a huge difference, and I'll pile on to Mary Jo a little bit. She and I have worked together since she was the interim executive director at the Red Cross in the mid-2000s. I'm on that board when one of the hurricanes was coming in and folks were fleeing the Gulf states, and she just did a great job then. And we had stayed in touch with her different roles over the years, but I knew that I had the right person at the Metro government when it came to anything disasters, not for the pandemic, but a few weeks before when the tornadoes hit. And we got the early morning call for our senior team to gather over at the OEM headquarters there on the hill behind Belmont. And I needed to get an address, put it in Google, and just figure out if my security badge was going to work. By the time I get there, I walk in with Mary Jo, and she is being hugged, called by first name, and pretty much telling me where I can sit down and where the bathroom is. So it's great to have all that experience on the bench now.
And thank you, Sean, and everybody. I appreciate that, Kevin.
Great. Well, any other questions?
No, I just wanted to say we did have Representative Harold Love also join us. So thank you for making time today of all days, Representative Love.
I did have one question. There's more money coming down, and we've been made aware of the fact that the money specifically for rent relief could go to cities if those cities opted in. And I didn't know if there were plans from the city to opt in to receive those, or just let the state disperse those funds.
No, Metro will absolutely, I'll have the mayor's signature on the certification probably by the end of today. So we have until the 12th to file our application, but cities or counties greater than 200,000 are eligible for a direct allocation, and Metro will definitely be submitting for that. Our first estimate was approximately $20 million. I don't have that final, but our Metro Action Commission will administer those funds.
All right, thank you.
Yep. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of the other.
Now that Representative Love has joined, I just want to say, Representative, what a great job you did for the council's budget education session last week. That was a marvelous presentation, and thank you for doing it.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. I always put the city of Nashville first at the folks to understand how important Nashville is to the economic engine of this state, and we should be respected that way also, I think.
Yeah. Great. Well, listen, any other just big Metro questions I can answer while I'm here? All right. Well, I know I'm counting on Council Lady Johnson to call me later if she has one. So I'll depart. Thank you all again. I really appreciate all your great work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. If there's nothing else, we will jump into the final report. So that includes Metro. How about if I come back to that? What you've got is actually our complete framework with each of the individual contracts that were given for our nonprofit partners, along with some of the other, like I said, the first line item is our $48.8 million. I'll come back to that. One of the first allocations we made was to MNPS for laptops and hotspots. That's the $19 million that we revised from the original 24. If you recall, the additional 5 was then awarded as a result of the last resolution, part of the public safety salary spend that created savings, that created the new reserve. So that full amount has been spent. Laptops, hotspots, digital curriculum has all been purchased with those funds by MNPS. The next item that was awarded was the $10 million in rent and mortgage relief administered by United Way. And they did spend all of their funds and served almost 4,000 households were able to tap into that assistance. And you can see the demographics provided, as well as the average assistance, I believe, was about $2,400. And I'll have those detailed reports. There were a couple that were yet to come in. We'll get them to, by the end of day tomorrow. But the average assistance was roughly $2,400 per household. And you can see from a demographic perspective, we certainly did achieve our goal of making sure that we hit some of our most vulnerable neighborhoods and the zip codes that were first identified in our Equity Alliance needs assessment. Pathway Lending then administered the grants for the small business. We carved out a specific piece for the micro business. We wanted to make sure that the small businesses didn't miss out just for maybe lack of being able to apply quickly enough. And we hit that target, as well as within the small and micro business, we had a goal of achieving at least 30% minority owned businesses, and that final percentage exceeded 30%. Again, I'll have that final report, but I believe it was 34%. And then in our live music venues, we had 20 venues that were served. A total of $957,938 was expended. So they did return that final $42,000 back to Metro, which, if you all recall, our final resolution basically said anything that comes back from contracts will then be included in the public safety spend, and then we'll put it into the reserve. So for now, you see that as available, but it won't be unspent as of 12/30. It will actually be spent on the public safety salaries. We'll add it to that amount and then add it to the reserve. Second Harvest reported full expenditures and again serving 238,550 individuals. So again, great work with these partners to really help those that needed it. And you can see the same demographics by gender, race, and zip code served. The next line item is not something that was specifically tasked with this committee. This was one of the early resolutions. And just to give you a little bit of a history, this goes back to organizations that were identified in the budgeting process that typically would have received a direct appropriation or later a community partnership grant. And because those are nonprofit contracts that really serve populations that Metro would otherwise, need to reach out to. So we partner with nonprofits to provide those services. Those contracts would typically have been included in the budget. And when we became aware of the Coronavirus Relief Fund and the different eligibility, these contracts were then funded with the CRF. And so the total allotted was 1.8 million for the direct appropriation contracts and 1 million for the community partnership funds. In the end, we had a few of the direct appropriations and just one, I believe, community partnership fund contract that did not end up applying. They had received other state funding. They didn't have eligible expenses. So the total contracts awarded were this 2.5 million. So you have some excess. What we will know in the coming weeks, what we'll find out is of the community partnership funds, as well as the direct appropriation contracts, is did they get fully spent? So we may have some additional excess funds if they don't spend every dollar that was awarded. Different than our contracts that were awarded by the committee, those were advanced funds. These contracts are reimbursement. So they have 45 days from the end of the contract period, which was December 30th, to submit all of their invoices, and then we'll know if they are fully spent. If there are any funds in addition to the 256 already identified, same as I just mentioned, they will be spent towards public safety salary and they will be added to the reserve, our post-2020 reserve. Any questions on those? Okay. The next contract was with Nashville Entrepreneur Center. Again, they fully spent the $600,000 and were able to serve 607 small businesses through all of their different programs, different webinars that they were able to offer. I'll be updating the demographics here are actually from a late December report, but not the final. So you can get a pretty good view of that, but there'll be some updates there. Same with Nashville Business Incubation Center. They fully spent the $600,000. They gave technical assistance, very specific, unique assistance to 153 businesses. I'll be updating those demographics also, but that's through like the third week of December. So it's pretty representative of the final. Same with Conexión. That is their final reporting. They spent all of their technical assistance. And if you recall, they were a little bit different than some of our other small business assistance, in that 150,000 of their 200 was actually in direct grant funds. So they used the other 50,000 for technical assistance. So it was, and the number 31 businesses received the direct financial assistance grant, and then another 33 received the technical assistance, for a total of 64 businesses served. Our Nashville area chamber, through their different programming and technical assistance, served, and again, this number will get updated. I think they will exceed that 100 in businesses, but through late December, they were at 99. They did return $8,672 in funding for some of the administrative costs that were not incurred. And then our last two contracts, Pathway Lending for our nonprofit arts organizations. They were awarded $2 million. They ended up providing funding for 53 different nonprofit arts organizations for a total of 1.5 million, but that 495 actually went undispersed. So that came back to Metro. And for the farmers market, again, that award was 500,000. 39 different vendors received rent relief for a total of 263,500. Which meant that 263,500 came back to Metro. So we've identified, other than the very first line item that says available, those funds will, be spent. But the other ones, the 42,000, the 256, the 8,000, the 495, and the 236, those are the preliminary amounts that we know we will add to the public safety spend to create the savings to move over to the post-2020 reserve. Any questions on those? And then I'll go back up to Metro's spend.
Thank you, Mary Jo. I do have one question. Did you get, did any of the agencies that partner with us say that the issue with the time hindered them getting more money out, particularly the ones that were term funding? Was it the matter of, particularly with the nonprofit arts organizations, did they serve all that applied, or was there an issue with the timing that they couldn't disperse more money? Did we get a sense from them on how the return of funds transpired?
I did hear of one, I believe, nonprofit art organization that did not apply in time. So I think timing may have impacted one. I think, and I will make sure to 100% be sure. But I think the reason for the nonprofit arts and the farmers market had more to do with the amount of eligible expenditures that were able to be, covered in these grants. I think the other thing with the arts is that if you recall, and I don't have everything right in front of me, there were different tiers. And so we put, and I think it was 5 million above, it might've been 10 million, but we had 4 tiers. And very early on, we decided that the tiers would cap at a certain amount, because we wanted to make sure that the Arts Commission works with so many of the nonprofit art organizations. They felt that they really had a pretty good handle on who would apply, but we did not limit it to the organizations that they consistently work with. And so to make sure that there was enough funding for other organizations that may apply that were not known at the time, we set those caps to make sure we could serve more. And there were not a lot of additional applications. There were a total of 59 applications and 53 were funded. So, and really the difference, the dollar amount requested of those that were not funded was roughly 250,000. So it had more to do with the fact that we set a cap. If we had not set those caps, I think some of the larger nonprofit organizations, the cultural institutions, may have been able to, get more in the grant funding. But because we set those caps, and then we just didn't have as many applicants as could have come through, and the ones that came through didn't have the eligible expenditures. For the farmers market, all the 39 applications that were submitted were all funded. So I think, again, some of it came down to a lot of those businesses did receive some small business grant funds, either through the state, through other means, and the eligible expenditures for the rent just didn't add up to what the anticipated amount was.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
And we'll talk about it as I lay out a little bit of information from the new legislation, but there is good news for the arts organizations, cultural institutions, the zoo, our live music venues, some of our other performance venues. So we'll come back to that. Okay. Then just quickly, January 7th, today we are still getting a lot of the invoices processed, journal entries posted. Takes quite a bit to get to year end. And I know you all know, I mean, even those that were focused on getting some of this year end reporting in have been interrupted with new work from the Christmas Day explosion. So our current estimate that we will incur by 12/30 is 48.7 million. We will gather additional expenditures will come in after today that will count towards that December 30th date. Some of those expenditures that will come in will also be ones that we identified to claim with FEMA. So in addition to just getting everything in the door, we also have to kind of split the buckets between those that are FEMA eligible and those that are being charged to the CRF. So there will really be throughout, the month of January and quite honestly beyond, opportunities for us to true all of this up. On Monday, the 11th, I will actually submit a report to the Office of Inspector General. It is the Treasury, U.S. Treasury report that is due, and we will show our full $121.1 million spent. And for right now, we will use that public safety salary as a little bit of our toggle, a little bit of until we know exactly where the other line items fall and which contracts get covered by CRF and which get covered by FEMA. We're really trying to keep that FEMA and CRF separate. And so they're being separated in the fund. We'll have the public safety salaries as we learn more about the different amounts, and anything that comes through on any other contracts that gets unspent will increase that public safety spend. Or if there is a late invoice that comes through in the next week, we may reduce that spend. So that's going to end up being a little bit of our toggle there. But the 48.7 million came through in really all of the areas as expected. The largest component of that is hazard pay. So we included $20 million of that 48.8 million was hazard pay. Once we actually had payroll taxes and the pension impact added to the gross wages, we were at 21.3 million. So that 21.3 million is covered and is by far the largest amount in that total, as well as then department overtime, a lot of the sick, what we're calling sick, admin, and repurposed time of our departments. That is the next largest component in there. When we start to talk about PPE, FEMA had a little bit of a shift in their guidelines. So before September 15th, a lot of the PPE and certain expenditures related to building safety are included. Post September 15th, those will not be included in FEMA and will come back into the CRF. As well as we had telework. That was a lot of purchasing of laptops, in some cases cell phones, and just licenses and things that would make it capable for Metro staff to work from home. So there were no surprises that came through. There was nothing that, we still have to true up all the individual line item estimates, but nothing that really tipped, really far one way or the other. And of course, this is an item that will go to council. And so when we send the full detail reports to council, I'm happy to continue to copy the committee also. Any questions on those? Okay, so that's how that final expenditure. Councilmember Gamble, you had asked, and Kevin answered it, Director Crumbo addressed it appropriately. But as we really thought about the extension, so I'm going to jump into, just the new federal stimulus bill and some of the impact it will have on Metro. The only item in that bill that impacted this first round of CARES Act funding is that on December 27th, they essentially extended the date for a full year. Now, we always kind of believed they would extend the date, but if they extend the date and don't add any funding, it really just became a little bit more of a responsibility to make sure that we spent wisely enough to make sure we could still cover expenditures that were going to be incurred after December 30th. So the strategy that we put in place to be prepared for that still held true, which is why we didn't go ahead and change any of the legislation that was enacted. So this committee made the recommendation to secure those funds for post December 30th. The council approved that plan. We have that legislation in place. There was no reason to undo it because of the extension of time, because you essentially got ahead of the game and extended those funds for us. And not only did we extend the funds, but we identified specifically what they could be spent on, which were all related to our COVID response, an extension of our COVID response. So yes, the funds are spent. And I think the other important piece of doing that is on Monday, when I report back to the Office of Inspector General and to our U.S. Treasury to say, we spent all of our funds. I think that also sends an important message that if there is an opportunity for additional spending at the state and local level in what might be a third stimulus package under the new presidential administration, we're showing that we did spend our funds. It wasn't that we didn't know how to spend them on time. It wasn't that we couldn't get to spending them all by December 30th. It was extremely important to make sure that not only did we have more funds for the community, but that we also made sure we didn't leave holes in Metro's budget that couldn't be addressed. So if we had had to spend all of those funds out of the general fund without having created those savings of the public safety salaries, I don't think anybody thought the city would take another hit like it did on Christmas Day. But it was extremely prudent, responsible, just fiscally wise to do what was done. So again, I thank you all for taking that approach, and I thank the council for ultimately approving that approach. It also then allows us, from an accounting perspective, we will get this $121 million. We will get it exactly teed up. We will have our I's dotted, our T's crossed. We will be able to make that separation between FEMA and CRF very early on, which again is a good risk management approach for Metro when it comes to any kind of audit. So thank you for that. In the new stimulus bill, beyond the extension, I'm going to just walk through some of the main categories. I'm always thrilled, Representative Love, when you're on the call, because you may have some additional information for us at the state level. But let me run through what we know. The small business relief is $325 billion of the total package. And I think what's really most important and hopeful for us here locally is that there will be more PPP loans for small businesses. So businesses are eligible to receive a second loan. The other component of this that I alluded to earlier are live music venues, independent theaters, cultural institutions, including the zoo. And it expanded live music venues. So it includes performance venues. It includes, like I said, the theaters. So the funding there is roughly 45% of their 2019 operating revenue, provided they can substantiate the expenditures. So that amount is actually much more than a PPP loan would offer them. And in this case, they have to actually choose between a second PPP or this grant. They cannot take a second PPP and qualify for this. but these funds are not going to come through Metro. Probably the biggest generalization that I can make of this second stimulus is very little comes directly to Metro. Most of it will be administered either through the state or at the federal level. And in this case, for our live music venues and related performance and cultural institutions, the SBA is going to be administering. And so applications will go directly to SBA. It is not something that we will administer at all locally. From a transportation perspective, while there was $45 billion in transportation funding, Metro will not be eligible for additional transportation funds. And it has to do, that's kind of bad news. The good news is there was, Metro did very well in the first CARES Act, and there was a cap of total funding could not exceed 75% of our 2018 operating. And so the first round that we received in total actually exceeded 75% of our total operating budget in 2018. So it was the combination of the first CARES Act and this new stimulus that that was that cap, and we hit that cap on the first round. So we don't qualify for additional funding. It doesn't mean we're not going to find other areas with, perhaps our state highways. The airports are likely to receive more funding. There are some other things with, availability for maybe some of the private motor coaches and things, industries that will impact locally. But just from an overall transit, MTA, RTA, and some of the other surrounding region that we administer, we won't receive more funds. Vaccine testing, tracing, and community health. There is $22 billion for additional testing and contact tracing. So we do have our reserve. We do have, amounts for our testing sites. Again, the lab invoices, we specifically are filing with FEMA. So those weren't included. And then we actually found out that the state is going to cover those invoices post 12/30. So there is actually, it's not just the invoices. We actually found out that there's a little bit of an expanded coverage from the state to cover the temporary labor, the PPE that those folks have to wear, the lab tests. So we're going to work with how much is covered by the state, how much more will we still need from that reserve. If we don't spend it all, that's something that will be coming back to the council to hear on those estimates. But those funds will be administered at the state level. So it'll either be a bit of a reimbursement or a grant application. We will work with the state. One item that you heard us talk about early on was the rental assistance. And that is the one item that is coming directly to us. We will apply, like I said, by January 12th. We are very hopeful that the early estimate for Metro was roughly $20 million. Those funds are good until the end of December. So December 31st, 2021. They are income-based. And so for the families to qualify, they are income-based, but it does provide several months worth of rental assistance. So we're very pleased about that. There is more funding for schools. And again, early estimates for MNPS are at a significantly higher amount than they received the first round. Again, I don't have exact finals, but it could actually be near $135 million for MNPS. That will come through the State Department of Education. Again, it won't come through Metro, but we are very pleased for MNPS. We do know those, I have the date, I believe it is through June 30th, 2022. So it will not only get them through this school year, but also the next school year. And there are some of the higher level explanation of those funds did include preparing kids to get back, preparing the schools to get the kids back in. So a lot of, deferred maintenance, HVAC, really looking at the quality of the ventilation and making sure that we have healthy, safe environments. So beyond that, we still are peeling back the layers to know what kind of operating costs and other types of expenditures that those funds might cover. Other items that we think will come through at some point, there's an increase to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. So those SNAP benefits, there's more funding for food banks, more funding for senior nutrition programs. So while we don't know that those will be direct applications, our Metro Action Commission has done a fabulous job tapping into many of these, different grant funds that are available through the state. And that's where a lot of the funding that came through the CARES Act wasn't part of our 121 million, but there were a lot of other funds that made their way to Metro, and a significant portion for really helping folks out was through MAC. And so they do a great job. They'll continue to stay on top of applying for those. But we do think with SNAP and senior nutrition programs are things that MAC is already providing. There's broadband. A little bit less known about that, but there is $7 billion to extend broadband access to low-income families. Also just in areas of telehealth funding and just expanding the broadband maps for government. So that's the majority of the items that we think could have an impact on Metro. Only the rental assistance have we identified coming directly to us. All right, I see two hands. Representative Love, I'm not sure if that's new or from before.
It was old, but I did have something to say. So I'll take it down to this. Just want to add to our council members and those who will be watching. I think the benefit of the money coming to Metro schools is that they can, according to Commissioner Schwinn, as you stated earlier, use some of this for capital improvements. And so if we do have buildings that need HVAC repair, this money can be used for that, which would, I think, in turn, maybe make their school board budget request different, because if they had capital improvements in their school board budget request, this may be able to be taken care of with the CARES Act dollars, which again then allows Metro Council to have a different budget to look at from the school board versus what you may have looked at before. I think the second piece we'll find out is that once we go back into our special session, the second week in January is just dedicated to education. And so this CARES Act money does not prevent us from the state level putting any more money toward our school system. That may be something that comes out of this conversation during this week-long special session after that. So we'll know more about that because we're going to get some bills passed early in that special session that will affect the long-range plans. I think we're also looking at least having a state-provided and paid summer school portion for 6 weeks, so that will allow our students to be able to catch up with some of the learning loss they've had. So just to put that on your radar for what we're going to be doing at the state level to assist with educational progress of our students. And finally, last year we did set aside $75 million for state CARES Act response before we found out what we're getting from the federal government. And even though we do have the money coming down from the second stimulus, I think you may still find that members at the state level will want to still set aside some money for CARES Act support for our local governments, because there was not any money in the second stimulus for state or local government. So our revenues were at the place where we could set aside some money. And so look for that also, and I'll keep you updated on that as we go through the session.
That is great news. And I just wanted to go back to the state paid summer school. Will that cover all counties? So for all?
Yes, the hope is that if we do 6 weeks of summer school for elementary and middle school students for all counties, then we'll allow our students to be able to catch up on the learning loss that they've had from not being in a classroom setting. We realize that as much as we may want kids to go back to school, that their safety is our first priority. But if we can have a situation where we allow elementary and middle school students to catch up in a summer school setting, it would fit well with if the school system could get those CARES Act dollars in, then make repairs or needed adjustments to classrooms, because you're in a situation where if the classroom is not COVID protocol ready with plexiglass and other things, you could use this money for that, and then again have those summer school courses in there, which would also take care of the summer school and possibly the meals provided for those students in summer school. So the whole package would be in there.
I think that's fantastic. I'm not sure that all the students will think that's fantastic.
Right.
Although I bet enough of them miss their friends that they might actually this time not think summer school so bad.
Yep.
I hope that all comes to fruition. Thank you for sharing that.
All right. Thank you.
Council Lady Gamble, I see a hand.
Thank you. Thank you, Representative Love, for that update. And Mary Jo mentioning the second stimulus, adding more dollars for metro schools. Does that also include for testing teachers, vaccines, for administering vaccines for teachers?
That I can't speak to. That will probably come through another department, but I tell you what I'll do. I will get the information and then I'll respond and email to the members on this committee, because that is a question that we need an answer to. I would want to say that the dollars that are going to the schools are primarily going to be for, again, the buildings and for the content delivery of education. And I think for teachers, we may find a collaboration between the Department of Health and the school system. But let me verify that first and then go back. Oh, one thing I did forget to answer is that, previously the money that came to metro schools, a portion of that had to come out of that for private schools. I think 10% was. The way it's structured now, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Mary Jo, is that the set aside now out of the governor's portion of allotment will take care of the private schools, which will allow the school system to dedicate all of that just to the public school system.
Yes, I'm not sure I can 100% confirm on the governor's side. The governor still has a discretionary fund, but when I was looking at all of the different schools that were awarded through this Department of Education, the private schools were independently listed. So the most important part is, you're right, the amount that has been allocated to Davidson County is not having to be shared and split up among private schools. That is literally MMPS's portion.
Right.
Yep.
One more question to Mary Jo. Do you anticipate, since the dollars for rent and mortgage will be administered through Metro, do you anticipate any additional need for our committee or help in deciding how it's administered, or are the guidelines pretty clear and there won't be any need for our committee in evaluating that administration?
That's a good question. The guidelines are actually very specific. There's the income thresholds. It talks about, based on income thresholds, how many months. It even then says you have to spend a certain amount by September in order to request the additional funding to last through December. So we think that having MAC administer those funds, even if they then go out to partners, so a little bit similar to how United Way administered but used partners. Even if MAC is using partners, having them be that one administrator keeps kind of the handle on what's being spent and when, so that we make sure we extend funds all the way till December. Keep in mind, part of our last resolution was to provide $3.8 million of rent, mortgage, and utility assistance through that financial network Partners of United Way. So the nice thing about that is you can't 100% control it, but knowing that there's rent assistance for some of the income limitations, you may have folks that have lost a job, they were doing okay for a while and now need assistance. And if they don't meet that income threshold, it's really nice to make sure that we've got that reserve with United Way. So we're working on that contract to get them their funding, and that's a nice balance. And the other thing is, I actually already received a couple emails from United Way. They do a lot of work around this all the time, not just during a pandemic, not just as part of these federal funds, and working with Judge Bell and the community court and some of the eviction moratorium. And there's still some concern because while that was extended to January 31st, that's not forever. And so I think there's a great partnership with United Way and MAC that already exists. They've already been kind of exchanging emails already about it. So it'll stay with MAC, but I think it will still become a really important, larger tool in the community. All right, Council Lady Sepulveda.
Thank you. I apologize. I'm moving, so if there's some noise in the back, or if someone's called my name at some point, I did not hear you. So I don't know if this was addressed already. Like I said, there's a bit of noise, but I just wanted to check and see if United Way was able to help us with the situation that we talked about, Mary Jo, about some people not having official leases or contracts or anything of the sort. Was that ever clarified? Or
let me follow back up, because I did have a conversation with them, and they understood. They wanted to actually kind of survey their partners, because they've historically kind of worked around some of those, kind of traditional documents. Kind of what we talked about, and what Councilwoman Sepulveda is referring to, is that there were times when folks didn't have a lease in order to submit for their application of rental assistance. But if they've been paying the same amount to the same person, and their checks for months and months have said this is for rent, that constitutes essentially what looks like a lease. So we wanted to make sure there was some of that flexibility. And when I talked to United Way, they thought that probably was already happening, but I haven't followed up. So let me make note to make sure of that.
Great, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? I don't see any new hands. So, as Director Crumbo alluded, and as I kind of think I said in one of our emails, because there are no more funds to recommend, and because we have, provided the report of, of the full expenditure, your duties have essentially come to an end. You'll all probably go through withdrawals without Thursday meetings at noon, but I just can't thank you enough. But as more information comes out, or if you have questions, I will continue to be reporting to the council. So especially with that final reserve, we'll not only be reporting the final amounts to the 48.8 million, but we'll also be then reporting just like on the 30 million. So those reports will continue. I am happy to share those with the committee. If you've been so ingrained in this, it's kind of hard to turn it off. So if the interest is there and you want to know, please feel free to reach out to me. I see a hand, Edward Henley. Good to see you.
make sure I unmute there. No, I think my screen might have been delayed a little bit. I was going to ask about a final reporting, but you kind of answered that as I was putting my hand. I just know a lot of folks have asked me about just how the funds have been expended, and I've been letting them know we get updates on a pretty frequent weekly basis. So just having the final one would be great. Also, since I do have the mic, it has been, unfortunate situation, but it's been a pleasure to serve on the committee with each of you. It's been great. And I know we've all had to bear a lot of bad news throughout this time, but I think, doing it collectively has made it a little bit easier to bear. And I know, it made me feel better knowing that we have so many people who are in our city working to make sure we're taking care of our citizens. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely, can't agree more. And the different agencies will send us kind of their final tried and true, all the detailed spend, and I will make sure that you all get that. And then after that, it is continued reporting to council. This summary that you have, there might be a few tweaks with some of the demographics, but the units served and the dollars spent have all been confirmed by the nonprofit partners for the contracts that were awarded through the committee. So you do have that, but I will continue to send details, more of Metro's internal spending as we continue to finalize numbers and move into spending out of that reserve now that we've hit post 2020. With that, if I don't see any more hands, we are officially adjourned, like officially adjourned.
Thank you so much, Mary Jo. Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you all.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you very much.
You too.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.